Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I found this article and I thought it was funny as hell, and I thought I should share it with you. So every time you're gonna hear this garbage piece of news related to this issue, think of what I'm gonna say in this video, because this way it shows you how propaganda is made and how objective certain media outlets are. And life is not fair, as we know, but nevertheless they tell us to be observing this and that and this and be fair and law-abiding citizens. But on the other hand, they do whatever they want out there. So this is the article. Ukrainska Pravda. Russia forms new special unit consisting of convicts. Now, what do you think about this one? Are you about to say, oy vey, what the hell? Or are you gonna say, so? What are you gonna say? Or, yeah, man, yeah. Which one is gonna be your reaction? When I tell you what my reaction was, first was like, so what? And then I realized, wait a minute. That reminds me of a movie. Remember the movie, The Dirty Dozen? The movie was made after a book. So it was the book and then the movie, obviously. So we have, these guys are trying to tell us that Russia forms a new special unit consisting of convicts. So did those guys in the Dirty Dozen? Didn't they? And that was fantastic. We were supposed to, yeah, man, Hollywood, good job. In this case, I guarantee you this guy's going to say, these are a bunch of criminals. They're going to do all kind of garbage on the front line. So let me show you. And I'm going to show you the Dirty Dozen as well. The National Resistance Center has reported that Russia has recruited convicts for the war against Ukraine in a new special assault unit called Strom Gladiator. Good job, Gladiator. Now, the NRC noted that this is a privileged semi-secret battalion, Dirty Dozens, my friend, consisting of several hundred convicts with combat experience, named gladiators in honor of a former general of the 58th Army who went by the alias Spartak. The battalion is commanded by an ex-policeman convicted of a brutal murder. You don't impress me with that. You don't make me hate them, my friends. This unit selects people with a high level of physical fitness, experience of service in law enforcement agencies, and combat veterans, the resistance reported. In addition, the resistance added former mercenaries from Wagner Private Military Company and Kadyrovites from the Akhmat unit of the Special Rapid Response Unit SOBR, part of Russia's National Guard, drill the gladiators at the training ground. So, do you think that Hollywood, do you think those guys will make a movie about the Russian Dirty Dozen version? Nah, don't hold your breath, my friends. You're gonna be dying if you hold it, because they won't make such a movie. So Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is a 1967 American war film directed by Robert Aldrich and starring Lee Marvin with an ensemble support casting. We got Charles Bronson. That's my favorite actor right there, ever and forever. Charles Bronson, that's my man. Okay, so set in 1944 during World War III. Yeah, not there yet. We're at the incipient phase of that. World War II, the film follows the titular penal military unit of 12 convicts, oy vey, as they are trained as commandos by the Allies for a suicide mission ahead of Normandy's landings. So these were even more criminal than the other ones because it's suicide mission. So these guys here, I would say, show more compassion, don't they? It's just a special unit. They are not sent for a suicide mission ahead of the Normandy's landing. The Dirty Dozen was filmed in England by MGM British Studios and released by MGM. Very good. I like this movie. And very good. let me say this last thing. You see this 101 or 101st Airborne Division, named the Filthy 13. So this was inspired by a real-life World War II unit of behind-the-lines demolition specialists from the 101st Airborne Division, named the Filthy 13. Another possible inspiration was the public offer to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt by 44 prisoners serving life sentences at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary to serve in the Pacific War on suicide missions against the Japanese. So, you see, as I said many times, these guys have more crimes and garbage in the past. What these guys are doing are just copying something that we as humans did it before. I just introduced ourselves just because I make it general. But why? Because we might react in the same way under the same circumstances. That's why I make this point. So remember, when they say, well, Stalin, Putin invaded unprovoked Ukraine, and because he claimed that his people, the Russians, were killed by the Ukrainians, the Kiev regime in Ukraine. Oh my God, he's like Hitler. No, he's not like Hitler. He's like the United States of America when they invaded Mexico because of Texas. The same reason. The same reason. Texas was part of Mexico. And Texas says, well, can we have some settlers here so we can tax them better? Yeah, and settlers came and settled in Texas. Supposedly there were some religious problems over there with the new settlers, which were not Catholic and so on, and they started fighting in Texas. And then what happened? You know, Texas fought for independence and from those guys, and the United States of America helped them. The same thing. So when they talk about Hitler getting into the Sudetenland, the Americans did it 100 years before that. Okay, 100 years before that. So spare me. The same with these guys. Oh my God, these guys are hiring convicts. These guys did it, what, 80 years? And not only. And they're not the only ones. If you go back to Rome, if you go back to ancient Greek, you might find again, oh, these guys were using convicts. Why? Easy cannon fodder. So again, don't hold your breath in Hollywood, Havana Gila making a movie about the dirty Russian dozen, because they won't. Why? Because why was that book written or the movie made? To give us this kind of view on the world that even those people who committed crime, they have hearts, they have passion, they could be patriots, they could be courageous. Why? Because all these things are universal values. Courage it doesn't belong only to the Americans or to the Russians, but to every human being who employs courage in whatever action. So the same, compassion is not only we, the free world, could be compassionate. The other guys are not, they are just not compassionate. Again, this is a universal value. It's like the theory of the philosophy of forms of Plato, and I use it many times. These things exist in the abstract somewhere, and we just employ it and we use it with a flavor. If let's say I'm getting, don't put myself, let's say an American, let's say, which is the forces of good, the Ukrainian, let's put this, Ukrainians, the forces of good, a guy displays courage in fighting the Russians, he just uses the form of courage in his particular flavor, particular situation. So he's a courageous guy. Now, if a Russian, who's the bad guy, does the same thing as the Ukrainian did, he accesses the form of courage and he uses it in his own flavor. He's also courageous. Is always also courageous. So these guys, when these imbeciles are telling us, oh, the Russians are this and that, no, that was the glorification in this Dirty Dozen of courage, of sacrifice, of patriotism. Saying, you see, even those guys who are bad dudes are doing it for, first, they do it for just to get away from that, the penitentiary, whatever they were charged and so on, to do it, and then they all, they expand into fighting for something more noble than the dirty shit they were. That's what it is. Because I think all of those 12, I think they die, or maybe 11, I can't remember how many die. They all die, or whomever die reaching a new stage of enlightenment, if you want, self-realization. I know that's what it is, the pyramid of, if you want. So the same, Malthus comes, but Malthus is with the guy with sustainable, not sustainable. So anyway, it's just now it gets my my mind. What's his name with self-realization? The pyramid. What's his name? Ah, let me find it. There it is, Maslow. No, Malthus, Maslow. Close. So they all get the highest point of self-realization where they realize, well, you know what? It's something above us. This is our goal. This is our, put all our energy in. And basically they expand, they cross the border, they break ceilings in their own personal value and worth, which is sacrificing for something noble. And you're going to see. So that's the same thing. Do you think the Russians are not doing that? Why? Because they're bad? Again, you don't own, not a certain kind of people or a nation owns the truth, owns the courage, owns the sensitivity, the artistic skills, or the, how do you call that? Empathy. You're not in charge of, only we can be empathetic. The other ones are just crude beasts. I mean, this is what these guys are saying, it camouflaged or not. And that's dangerous, because once you think of a different people like that, you think of how other people thought about ours. Oh, they're just rats, pests, and they should be just psh, psh, psh. And then we got to what? To things from the Second World War. Awful. So here is, my friends, maybe we can make a movie on the Dirty Dozens, or maybe, I don't know, how many they are in Russia. Remember, everything, I'm saying everything, what the Russians are doing has been done before by the good people, including crimes. Those guys dropped 2 atomic bombs. The Russians did not achieve that yet. So again, every little thing is not that the Allies are bad. We are human under certain kind of circumstances, and we want to win. When you want to win, you win through all means necessary. And then you have the mass media to portray it and hide where you fucked up and where you committed crimes, and give a different spin, or hide it altogether. Never mention it, or mention it after, I don't know, 3 generations, 60, 90 years. Then, oh yeah, we did that actually. We know it, you did it. Why? First, you're a human being. Let's start with that one. And then, because you're not different, much different. It's just a veneer of civilization coming from the free world. A veneer. We're the same crude animals that are still superstitious. Look at these guys. Look at it. They're still superstitious. That's how the wind blows harder today. Must be the end. Yeah, I had to say it. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.